In today's episode, new means new, open means open. High priority ticket over a black screen. We'll do it somehow, if you don't. We have people for that. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. New means new, open means open. This collection of stories is from a Helpdesk Manager role I had around 12 years ago. They were a small American company with some early success who ran into growing pains and needed more experienced people in pretty much every department so they could grow. Of course, the old guard was so proud of their initial, fluke success that they refused to ever change anything moving forward because of the fact that it worked one time before. This was especially true in IT. I was hired to be the Helpdesk Manager. This would mean I had a team of technicians under me and my role was primarily managerial, reporting to the Associate Director of IT. In hindsight, the problems began on day one, but I was still too young to really see it. Task 1 was that I had to build my own machine. Some sort of test, I guess. Given that I could support XML ingestion APIs that handled millions of titles across dozens of channels to millions of customers, I didn't have any issues imaging my laptop with their pre-built image. The biggest obstacle was their outdated ghost server that needed hours to do a machine across their network. However, what I was not given that first day, or any day after, was a complete list of the systems I would support. Sure, I got the basics right away. They were using Trackit, again outdated and over capacity, but clear enough to use as a ticketing system. There was some associated asset tracking system too. Same deal, slow and overloaded, but it worked. I would come to piece together across the next 6 months that I was also responsible for BlackBerries, Windows Mobile Pocket PCs, printers/copiers in the office, all-in-one printers in the field, GPS units, etc., etc., etc. Now, why I was never given this list I do not know, but I assume it had to do with the associate director I mentioned earlier. We'll call him Duffels. My guess is that during his decade as the manager he never made such a list. Duffels was in his early 40s. He was not American-born. However, he was born in a white, Western European nation, so not a huge cultural stretch. And he moved to the US at age 18 for college, so he had been living here around 20 years. In spite of that, he struggled with basic English. And I don't mean he had an accent. I can deal with accents. I mean that he did not know basic words and often failed at basic pronunciation to the point that I wondered if he had an undiagnosed disability. It was that bad. So his communications to the customers and to his team were puzzling and often ineffective. The guy had a problem saying the word chicken FFS. Duffels was 7 feet 3 inches tall. Duffels came to the US to play college basketball. He then went on to do a stint in the NBA, before being shipped to the Euro League for a few years, then moving back to the US, at which point he stumbled into an IT job with a tiny company. 12 years later, here we are. Not only can he not speak English, he has no real qualifications. No wonder they wanted me a folder full of relevant IT certs, and a good bit of experience managing high-profile tech support teams. So in hindsight, I guess it isn't surprising that he didn't know the basics of managing a service desk. One of my immediate tasks when taking this job was to replace the aforementioned crap ticketing system. We ultimately settled on a much better system, with integrated asset management, more features, more scalability, and a web interface accessible by any user. We spent $100,000 on this, which for a company this size was not insignificant. And after trials, comparisons, etc., we went live with the new system. It was actually pretty slick and not only met the current needs, but offered easy ways to expand as the company grew. Of course, the main component was a user-facing ticketing system, but there was asset tracking, remote desktop, mass software deployment, etc. One day a red-faced Duffels calls me into his office, and I could tell he was looking for something to explode over. He didn't like me because I didn't kiss his butt and made no secret of the fact that I didn't agree with how he did things, as it was usually wrong. i.e., dropping everything and running to a help call, regardless of what it was, who it was for, what else was going on, etc. He thought that proper prioritization and management of incidents was bad customer service. While running away from a ticket you're working on to take the newest, and not necessarily highest priority, is just fine. Of course, the users hated this. I hated it. And my biggest struggle was to change that mentality, which made Duffels red in the face. Somehow in his tiny mind, if you drop everything to answer the phone or work a brand new ticket, you're doing a good job. Of course, this system is missing the component where you finish the tickets you start. So back to me being called in. He wants to know why there are hundreds of tickets no one has looked at. Hundreds. I look at the queue and laugh. As usual, Duffels and his limited brain have missed vital information. You see, when you create this ticketing system, you can add as many status options as you want. We stuck with some basics. New for brand new, open for stuff being worked, on hold for stuff we couldn't close yet, but was inactive, and closed for stuff that was solved and closed. Given our policy of not closing tickets until the actual issue was resolved, we had a lot of open tickets. Not a bad thing. All very detailed, so if any other tech went in they could see status and next steps. At that time we had 5 tickets that were new. 5 that we had not looked at yet. Out of 800 users. Well, Duffels has decided that he just isn't going to look at the new tickets, and that all the open tickets are brand new tickets no one has looked at. He had even brought in the VP to try to embarrass me. The fact that it didn't work only made him madder. There was another fun row with Duffels when we moved into new buildings a few months later. The company had grown enough that we needed it. And of course IT had a huge role in the move. One thing we did during the move was drop our old no-name VoIP system and upgrade to Cisco. Kind of a big deal, especially since my team hadn't really done it before. The old VoIP was handled by another department pre-move. Yep. Not IT. So in order to make it work and support telephony for 800 users, we needed some training. Duffels sent me and my senior tech to a week of Cisco training to learn the system. On the second day I basically stopped paying attention to any of it, the training or Duffels, because he was mad that I wasn't staying on top of my inbox and taking my work phone calls. While sitting in a hands-on Cisco class with 8 other people. Similar stuff came up when I tried to actually use my PTO as vacation, when I honored the company's policy of not taking on-call calls after midnight, and a few other basic things. There was yet another incident during this building move. For whatever reason, Duffels had decided that our entire team needed to stay together at a hotel during this. Mind you, my house was closer to the office than this hotel. We had 2 long days and nights to do our part of the move. After only the first day, Duffels was apparently concerned that my team and I weren't going to get it done. We were, by a lot. Yet he didn't bring this to me. He decided to grab his buddy, Mini Duffels, from another team and run back to look over and correct my work. Mind you, we're all at the same hotel. So my senior guy and I watched Duffels and Minnie walk right past us in the lobby at 1 a.m., not saying a word, leaving. We assume it's booze, strippers, whatever. Nope. They were going to try to dig dirt and make me look bad. When this all came up, the first thing I did was point out that rather than talk to me about the concerns, Duffels walked right past me, gave me a dumb look, and kept going. I also pointed out that we had 50% of our allotted time left to work, so it didn't seem fair to be saying we weren't going to succeed. And after all that, we did an excellent job. Even got bonuses for it. Not because of Duffels. About a year in, there was an incident with a garbage new hire who didn't want to do his job. Thought that a kid's haircut was a good reason to ignore his on-call duties. As a result of this, I was given the option to take a suspension while they investigated or take a severance check. I thought for about 7 seconds before I took the check and left. Over the next few years, that company fell apart like cheap meatloaf, and its guts were ultimately acquired by a foreign business. It's pretty sad that in this day and age people still don't get that a successful small company won't be successful for very long if they stick to small company ways of operating. High priority ticket over a black screen. This week it's my turn with the on-call duty. I work in the CCTV field. Today's morning at 6:55, I got a P1 ticket. Highest possible issue. Very strict SLA with short reply and fixing times. Yada yada. Issue: user reported he has 3 black screens and doesn't see any camera image. I got on my phone call the layer 8, he explained all screens are black since yesterday, and they can't work because they don't see sh*t and so on. I looked up in our CCTV management system and saw all 3 screens are online and the status color is green. Which is odd, because this means it is just online, but nothing is connected to the screen, otherwise the status color would be black. So I took a camera and drag and drop it on one screen and voila, the camera image is shown. I explained to the user that he need to connect some cameras with the screens if he wanna watch them, and he should know this when he works with the system. He said he doesn't care, he just wanna watch the images and don't wanna do this tech stuff. Guess who wrote this time a very detailed summary about this issue in the ticket response and mentioned that I recommend a user training. Oh, and I marked the ticket with charging his department with my labor cost for this call, so they must discuss it on the next meeting. We'll do it somehow, if you don't. 2&D/3RD level support for Exchange here. Was doing support for a very big company for emails, only English language as communication. Got a ticket from one branch in Brazil, where user wanted us to change the email folder, where emails are received, to his local Outlook folder. I was like, probably he thinks we will not be able to access his emails or something similar. So with short talk with my manager, we provided a nice reply to the ticket with reasons why we refuse it and closed the ticket. Month later, we got a ticket with only simple message: user is not receiving any emails. As the ticket was created on behalf of person having the issue, we had to call back. So we called the requester. Me: hello, I am from XXX, and we received a ticket from you. Her: hello, yes, wait. Hearing a run and a lot of whispers. Me: okay, waiting. Her: yes, someone else. Me: we received a ticket with number XXX with this issue. Her: yes. Me: could you please tell us more about it and also who is affected? Her: yes, wait. Me: okay, hearing clicking. Her: we update the ticket later. Me: okay, we'll wait. After few days, we finally got update on the ticket. And yes, it was the person that wanted to change the inbox in mailbox. So we did backup of it and run check mailbox tool. Check tool found some problems related to inbox and created a new inbox folder, but new emails were still missing. Asked my manager if I can have a look on it. So interested, I found with Mappy Editor some hidden emails from few days ago. So I told about it to my manager and he told me to be quiet. That user caused it himself, we have backup, and that we will tell him it is corrupted and lost. Mailbox was remove created. And they refused restore from month back. As for that we charge €100. We have people for that. So this happened a few years back. A smaller location with about 10 employees all in an office setting were being moved out of their office building to a smaller temporary office building so the original building could be repaired due to some damage. They would need to be in the temporary building for about 2 months. I and my 3-person, at the time, IT staff was located in another town about 45 minutes away, but we were responsible for this location as well. The big wigs from corporate stepped in and said they had everything under control regarding the temporary office and the renovation. Being a good manager, I started asking questions about how would the lawn be rebuilt, has cable modem been scheduled to be installed, and has someone scheduled IT movers to move their computers and other equipment over. I was told yes, everything is being taken care of and we have people for all of that. You will not have to do anything but keep on supporting them. 5 days before the move, the regional manager calls me and say, so what is happening with the network at the new place? We got the keys, but corporate says you're building everything out. So I guess we are the people for all of that. After a few phone calls, including the manager who said they had it under control, it was confirmed that we, the local IT staff, were to handle the scheduling of the cable modem move, assisting corporate with the router reinstallation, LAN rebuild, and moving all of the user's IT equipment. Turns out the project manager was so focused on the reconstruction of the old site they completely forgot about the needs for the temporary site, and did not remember our conversation asking those exact questions. At the last week, they just called the regional manager and said we, local IT, would handle everything.